I'm going to hit record. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Webinar Wednesday. So glad you are here. It is a hot day here in Grand Forks. I don't know what it's like where you are, but it's very warm here. I just like to remind you of the upcoming webinars that we have scheduled. We have webinars Wednesdays scheduled all the way through November 2nd right now. So keep coming back. The next one is August 24th, and that's going to go over some North Dakota programs that we want you guys to learn, excuse me, more about. Community Connects, Free Through Recovery, and Peer Support Specialists. So we're going to highlight that one. Yeah, and Paul is on right now, and he is our September 21st presentation. So he's going to talk about his daughter Shannon and her injury, and he wrote a book about that, and he's going to share her story. We have Jackie Stebbins coming on October 5th, and she had autoimmune encephalitis. So she's going to explain to us what that is and how that impacted her. And she has written a book about that, Unwillable, and I've started reading it, but I haven't gotten super far, but I'm excited to keep going. And then the other scheduled one is November 2nd. We're going to have an audiologist, Dr. Kevin Fire. He lives here in Grand Forks and works here in Grand Forks, but he's got some new advanced treatments for tinnitus. And I know if that is a huge complaint area for a lot of our survivors, that's that ringing in the ear. So I was hoping that he could offer some relief and some suggestions on how to treat that. So yeah, keep coming back. If you're new to Web Wednesdays, this is being recorded right now. And then it usually takes my web team about a day or two to get everything put on the website, but the recording will be up on the website soon. And then you can also do your CEU request that way as well. There'll be a link right next to the recording, so you can submit for CEUs for your time today as well. And I think that is all my housekeeping. So I'm excited to have Laura here. Laura is amazing and has done other things with us. She did one of our support groups recently too, and they had a great time. So I'm excited to have her here and share her story. And she's going to have you hold questions till the end if you don't mind. If you think you'll forget, you go ahead and you type that in the chat, and I will just wait till the end to ask it. If you're one of those, I know if I don't ask when I think of it, I sometimes forget. So just go ahead and put it in the chat, but I will hold questions till I will ask them at the end, or if you want to wait till the end too, you are welcome to do that. But all right, I think that's all. You can take it away, Miss Laura.
Hello, everybody. So I am coming to you from Denver, Colorado, and I am going to go through some slides first to give you a little rundown of what I am, who I am, I should say, and the website I've created for brain injury and migraine health. And then I will take you through a little walkthrough of the website. So I am going to turn my camera off, otherwise I get really distracted. And then, like Carly said, I will take questions at the end of that portion. So here we go. Are you seeing the big screen? No.
Yep, but we're seeing your notes. There you go. You want to go to presenter view probably. There you go. Perfect.
All right. Well, like I said, my name is Laura Loretta, and I am the creator of Lit Up My Mind, LLC. And today I'll be going over a little bit about myself and my story so that you can better understand what Lit Up My Mind is and what it offers. I will start by giving you a brief introduction about myself, and then I will share with you the condensed version of my brain injury story. Next, I will explain the inception of Lit Up My Mind. I will share with you the groups and resources that Lit Up My Mind now offers. And finally, I will speak to you or walk you through Lit Up My Mind's website. So a little bit about me. I'm a Denver native who graduated from Regis University with a Bachelor's of Science degree in 2000. After graduation, I worked with high-risk children and teens in the behavioral health field in both inpatient and outpatient settings. I also taught middle school science and math prior to my brain injury. I have the pleasure of teaching SAIL, which is the Self-Advocacy for Independent Living class for the Brain Injury Alliance of Colorado, and I also volunteer with BIAC as a peer mentor. I'm an ambassador for the MSKTC website, which is federally funded website, which provides valuable resources on brain injury to the community. I work as a volunteer for Miles for Migraine and sit on both their social events and social media committees. In July, I was awarded the Miles for Migraine Spirit of Advocacy Award. And recently I became a Brain Injury Advisory Council member. The Alliance of Headache Disorders Advocacy reached out to me early in 2021, and after months of preparation, I spoke with Congress during February of 2022, Headache on the Hill. On October 11th, 2011, I was in a rear-end car collision that would forever change my life. My advocacy story began, as I believe many do, out of pure necessity. I sustained a concussion during a motor vehicle accident, and at the time, I was treated for some of those injuries and told to move on. It took 4 long years of grueling appointments, being told I was imagining my pain and that I couldn't possibly be experiencing what I was telling my medical team before I finally was reassessed by a set of fresh eyes. That doctor was the first one to truly look at me, Laura, the woman who was living the past 4 years in horrible pain, to see what was truly going on. During the following year, I would find out that I did truly, in fact, have what was called post-concussive syndrome, a type of TBI. That TBI would also turn into daily intractable migraines. I would undergo several orthopedic surgeries for additional issues that were overlooked during those years that my pain was ignored. But all that pain was not in vain. One of my favorite quotes has proven to be a powerful metaphor for my own life. It became something that I think of almost daily. This metaphor proved all too true for me during the fall of 2021. Unrelated to my brain injury, I had to have 4 brain surgeries, and I subsequently had a stroke. I was left with the task of learning to walk again, and to be honest, I was feeling a little sorry for myself. I was in a deep depression during that time, and I felt lost. However, I got tired of feeling that way, and I decided I wanted more for myself. It wasn't until I was at my lowest point that I truly found light within me. I wanted to use all the tools that I had to find for myself along the way and put them into one convenient spot for others who were on a similar path to me, and that is how Lit Up My Mind was born. I have been in dark places with my pain when I was suffering, especially with migraine, where I have considered ending my own life. Having years with little to no support from my medical team has made me search for my own answers. I have been desperate to learn anything that might help me, learn things that could help me ease my own pain, and learn what was going on within myself. My pain has motivated me to search for any possible answers in finding the key to making my symptoms the slightest bit better. That's why I decided I don't want anyone else to be stuck as though they are in the same predicament. I started the website that provides all the best resources that I have found over the years in one convenient place. The website domain, litupmymind.com, is inspired by the thought that light can always be found in darkness. Through all adversity, whether it is brain injury or emotional trauma, there is always light and hope. Lit Up My Mind is a free resource sharing the most valuable content I personally endorse and have found helpful on my journey of healing to help educate others about headache, migraine health, and brain injury. I have been blessed beyond measure that I got through my darkest days. I have been able to come out the other side, and I'm seeing that there is life to be lived with chronic pain. I thought that it was a bunch of rhetoric, but once I truly stopped fighting the pain and accepted it as part of my life truly has gotten better. With the newfound sense of acceptance, I found an inner peace I didn't know existed. Now I'm able to give my pain purpose by helping others advocate for themselves. And I'm so lucky that I never gave up advocating for myself. Over the years, I have found that when I speak with my medical professionals, it helps to understand the science of my own body. That is why some of the resources I share on my website help explain easy brain science. Other resources I share on my site are links to websites that I have found over the years that speak to managing symptoms, finding facts and tools for everyday living, and even research to helping those living with both brain injury or headache disease. Soon I will be featuring wellness information, including information on nutrition, physical activity, and behavioral health, and how it impacts the brain. Podcasts and publications are two sections for people who want to get their information in a different form of media. Podcasts are a wonderful way for us to learn and connect to others' experiences from the comfort of our own homes. The publications list I have cultivated are a list of free downloadable resources, and some of which can be subscribed to get in the mail. The community calendar is a calendar of events that I have put together from around the web. These events are those that I facilitate or endorse. The registration links are on the calendar as well as all pertinent information for the events. In addition to the calendar of events, you can find the current and past Lit Up My Mind newsletters. If you don't already subscribe to the newsletter, you can read about upcoming programming, wellness, news, and more, and subscribe to get it yourself. The virtual group section, Lit Up My Mind, has begun to offer 2 different groups. Brain Busters is a virtual game group that meets several times a month to play virtual games. And Mending Minds is a women's support group that meets twice a month, offering a safe place for sharing and support for women living with brain injury and headache disease. In addition to the resources and groups provided on Lit Up My Mind's website, the MindSource grant that I received this year will help me with a community outreach project that I am very excited for. I will be starting a brain injury book program for the community. I will be placing books on brain injury and headache health into those little lending libraries around the community. This program will help educate the community while sparking fresh dialogue. More information on this program will be featured on the website in the next few months. Seen here is a picture of my little library on the day it was unveiled, and the little label that I created to put inside all of the books that will be donated. And with that, I would love to show you around Lit Up My Mind and answer any questions that you have.
You want to show us first, or do you want questions before that?
You could do questions if you want, and then I can show you around.
Okay. One that came to my mind, sorry, I'm gonna sit better. So recently, we're trying to form this survivor engagement group. And so we got together, we tried to pick survivors throughout the state from different ages, different injuries, all different things. And one of my main things from them was, how do we go about spreading the word on us? Because so many times we hear from people like, I wish I would have known about you, 5 years ago, 10 years, a long time ago. And so we talked about how the different people in that group had heard about us to begin with. And a lot of, so we had 4 people in the same community, same healthcare system, all totally different experiences. So some were told about us and given all of our information and were able to call us right away. Some weren't told anything. Some, got a portion, like we have decks of playing cards. So some people just got a deck of our playing cards. So I don't know, what do you think? Like, what do you like from MindSource? How did you find out about MindSource? And like, where should we start advertising? Because I just feel like I don't know how to let survivors know we even exist.
I think it can be really frustrating because that's actually one of the reasons I started the website, is because when I had my injury, I kind of was just left on my own and I didn't know where to go. And I was left to just keep Googling different things. And I just thought, like, it's got to be easier than this. So I think that's something to keep having dialogue for. And I think we just need to keep networking. How I found MindSource was through, I'm a peer mentor. And when I went to the mentorship retreat, I was telling people about my website, and there was another person that actually runs the Pueblo brain injury group. And so she was telling me about it. Otherwise, I never would have heard about it. So, I mean, they also need to do more to get the word out about themselves. But it also didn't even occur to me to look for a grant to help me with this project, because had I not had the grant, I don't know that I would be able to do the programming I'm doing. So I think we just need to rely on each other and network more. And, I can start adding some of your programs onto this site, and then vice versa if you want to put a link to mine. And, we just need to start supporting one another more, I think.
Yes, definitely. I'll put all of your stuff on our website that you would like us to. One idea I got recently we have this, it's called Dakota Conference here in North Dakota. That's a big healthcare conference. And one of the speakers made a comment about, so we have a new program in North Dakota where EMS workers can go in and do some things within your home. Like if you need diabetic care, they can go in and do that kind of thing, especially if you're in a rural area. And he said something to the effect of that, average person sees their primary care provider once a year, but they go to the pharmacy 4 times a month. So I was thinking we would start trying to hit some pharmacies with just our brochures and our, stuff like that, because hopefully more people are going to the pharmacy. That was one of the things I think I'm going to start trying to target, is pharmacies throughout North Dakota, especially those rural ones. But yeah, any ideas like that are super welcome. And yes, I agree with you that we should just keep collaborating and sharing and spreading the word.
Well, that's why I'm doing the little library project, because
yes, I took a picture of that. I love that idea, because we have those all over our community, at least Grand Forks. I'm sure they're all over North Dakota too, where we could have a book with that sticker like you had, or something similar, and put that in.
Yeah, I realize there's so many people that don't think of a concussion as a brain injury, or they just don't talk about it. And something I would like to do, if I can get some more money from MindSource next year, is create a bookmark with facts and figures about head injury and that kind of thing, and start just putting them into the little libraries. I mean, I know we can't inundate all that stuff, but maybe we could leave a brochure at the library if they'll let us, or something like that, because education is powerful, and you can leave them at clinics or something. I know in college we had something called the Stall Street Journal, and it was like a little newsletter in the bathroom, and just you can just, there's so many different options out there, and we just got to get really creative with it and maybe do something like that, and just keep the options open.
Yeah.
And that's why talking with other groups like us talking might spark something and spark some ideas and open up new possibilities.
Yes. Yes. Okay, I don't need to take over all of our questions. Anybody else have any questions? Oh, Paul asked, is there a Ronald McDonald House in North Dakota that can refer people? Ooh, that's a good, I don't think in North Dakota. Minnesota, I know the Minneapolis area has a Ronald McDonald House, but I do not believe we have one in North Dakota.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, Fargo has one.
Oh.
And Bismarck. Bismarck also has one.
Okay.
Yeah, Bismarck's right down by the two hospitals, and Fargo's is right by the Children's Hospital, Sanford's Children's Hospital.
Okay.
And Minot might have one too. I would have to double check if theirs is still open.
Okay, that's a great idea, though. I never thought of the Ronald McDonald Houses as a referral option. We love Sanford, nothing against them and nothing against any of our medical, but we have trouble getting through legal with our referral process. Like, they just don't want to, and there's HIPAA, all that jazz comes into play, and I think they just get nervous for giving us names. But all we want, just give our name, give our info out. But I think they get a little bit, we don't want to, so yeah. But I like using Ronald McDonald as a referral resource too. I will definitely reach out to them. Thank you, Chantel and Paul, for those ideas. Any other questions or comments anybody has? She's going to go into her website next, but before that,
well, I was just curious, Laura, with your accident, you had a picture up there with your airbag and stuff. Did the airbag, none of that, did that make it worse?
The airbag didn't go off. So that was part of the problem, but that was just the stock image of the airbag.
Okay. Okay, that's what we were wondering. So,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Getting the grant was very complex. The grant process was hard, but I had never done a grant, so that was part of it. And I did it alone, so that was another piece. I think if you can work with someone, that might be helpful. So I think it depends on your skill level. But I think I did a pretty good job, and I'm excited for it. It was my first time, and I was able to secure it, and so that was good.
Yeah, grant writing is tricky. We write grants too for IndieBin, and I like to describe it as like a really hard assignment, a really long assignment that you have to follow a lot of silly directions, like certain point font and certain, I don't know, there's just a lot of directions.
Very. But the people knew I had a brain injury and some other cognitive stuff going on. So they were really nice. Like, they actually did come back to me with a few questions and let me change it instead of just denying it. So that was really, really nice. And I felt grateful for that.
Great. Any other questions?
Could you talk more about the grant and how it works? Is it a one-time thing? Is it renewed every year? Is there any audit system of checking back? And
you have to apply every year, and it's called MindSource. And at the bottom of my website, there's in the footer, you can click on the MindSource logo and it'll take you to their website. So you can read more about it. And I believe
I'll
it's
try
for
that.
I believe it's for the state of Colorado, but they might have information for where you're located.
MindSource is incredible. We beg, borrow, and steal a lot from MindSource. They are very generous. I always, if you listen to these, you're sick of me here saying this, but the brain injury community is a very, very collaborative. They are willing to share anything and everything. But I don't know if those of you on here are familiar with our symptom inventory that we use. That is from MindSource. They gave us permission to utilize that. So they do really, really cool things.
Yeah. Very grateful. Well, with that, I will share my screen and take you through the website. There's a lot of content on here, so I will not bore you with going through every link, obviously. But I'll take you through a couple of them, just to give you an idea of what you can find on here. And then if you have any questions, just let me know. Again, I'm going to turn off my screen so I don't get distracted, and we will get started here. So this is the homepage, obviously.
I am just seeing, I think I'm seeing your background. I'm seeing the dog do a yoga pose and it's super cute.
Okay.
But I don't think we're seeing Lit Up My Mind yet. There we go. That's an awesome picture though.
You gotta be zen, right?
Absolutely.
So under the brain injury section here, you can explore many different subcategories. The first is something I find very valuable. I won't go through each of these links, like I said. But here is one that's really good, the National Data and Statistics. And you can acquire fact sheets. And this allows you to get things like, you can download any of these fact sheets, which some of you might be familiar with all these anyway, but I think that a lot of this is really valuable information. And again, you know, these are wonderful links, brain injury basics. Again, a lot of this is stuff that you are familiar with, but some of you have clients that wouldn't be familiar with this. The next one is one of my favorites, and I like to better understand what my providers are talking about when I go to the doctor or when I'm speaking to others about brain injury. So when I found this site, I was excited because it really made learning about the brain easier. So this really breaks it down. So if I want to learn more about the brain, it just kind of has brain science for kids, but it's perfect for me because sometimes it's just a little too complex and I need to, you know, like I said, break it down smaller. So it's neuroscience for the everyday person. And then I have a really good video. I won't play that obviously, but a good video on the brain. And then the next tab I have here is the symptoms. Again, you can access a wealth of knowledge by clicking on the various sites listed here. One example of this is the one that I said that I was an ambassador for. So if you need any help with this site, you can always contact me. The Model Systems Knowledge Translation Center, MSKTC, is a federally funded national center that provides easy to understand information on brain injury. the survivors, caretakers, and their families. And besides these great fact sheets, they have things in Spanish and English. So that's a great thing to have, because a lot of times it's hard to find multicultural information. But one thing that I enjoy is having the different ways to get the information. So a lot of times it's hard for people to just read your basic, sorry, sometimes I have a hard time with my words.
You're doing great.
Sometimes you just don't want to just read all your information. So like this one is a great one, TBI and sleep info comic. So you can just download this, and it's, I believe, 6 pages, and it's just a fun way to communicate to people about the challenges of sleep and your TBI. So that is the MSKTC. And then, like I said, all these different websites are really great, and there's just a huge amount of stuff, but I won't go into that. Here is a downloadable pocket concussion recognition tool that you can print. So that's always good to keep with you, because sometimes people forget what it is that you need to look for. Living with brain injury. The National Rehab Information Center will allow you to search for information on things like mental health assistance, technology, and more. So this is a great one for disability resources and publications. And you can explore that one on your own. The Community is Key one has the brain injury of a lot of America and Colorado, obviously, because that's where I'm from. And then we have the brain injury research. And this is a wonderful way to find a comprehensive listing of clinical trials around the country. If you're looking for one that's open, sometimes people are looking for a way to make some money, and others are looking desperately for a way to find a way to just look for a way to, excuse me, find some help in treatment.
Alleviate symptoms, yeah.
Yeah, alleviate symptoms, thank you. So living with migraine. When you live with migraine, whether you get them occasionally or daily like myself, it can feel very isolating. So that's why it's been incredible to find the many headache and migraine resources that I've put together on this page. There are many more sprinkled throughout the site, but these are the most recognized national sites. The National Headache Foundation, for example, has a lot of different tools. And one example of something that's helped a lot of people that I know is this patient assistance program. And you can just search here by like a drug. For example, I take Emgality for my migraines, and you can look for a savings card to just help with paying for your medication. So there's just lots of different things. They have a podcast and lots of offerings. The Recognizing Headaches. Sometimes I was unaware of this, but there are 150 headache types, When I began my research into headache disease, I was completely unaware of this. So there's down here, there's a complete headache glossary term guide that you can access. So that just blew my mind. Here you can get a complete, I volunteer for Miles for Migraine a lot, and here's a comprehensive guide that you can download on all the different headache types. And that's something that's really good. It's worth a read. And then the headache types, there's no links on this one, but I've put together a list of the different types of headaches, like the overview and treatments for those. Headache science. This is where I've put together some really good information, especially if you don't want to just read. These are two really great videos on what migraine disease and what causes headaches. And then if you're someone that is like me, I enjoy looking at things. I do better with like pictures and stuff rather than reading articles sometimes. So this is an example of what one of these infographics looks like. So the American Headache Society offers these infographics that you can download. So if you click this link here, and then you scroll down to the bottom, you could download any of these different infographics. And this is a wonderful way to find different statistics and information on different types of headaches and migraine. That it's just really interesting, I think. So that's a good way to find some headache science that's pretty easy. The recommended websites cover various topics. Soon this category will be broken down a bit more when the wellness section goes live. For now, you can find things like Love Your Brain Yoga. That's a wonderful place to go for a lot of different wellness options. Miles for Migraine, that's the one I volunteer for, and they have a lot of educational programmings and support groups. And then I have the US Pain Foundation. They have a lot of offerings as well. And here's the podcasts. I believe that connecting with others and learning by hearing about different experiences can be incredibly healing. And I know that for myself, healing from my brain injury was also extremely isolating. And that's why I've put together a list of podcasts. And it is my hope that others can find something that they can listen to here and that they can connect with so that they might not feel so alone. So if you just click on one of these links, it'll take you right to the podcast, and most of which you can just download or listen to right at the website. You don't really have to do anything else. And the publications, I personally absorb more when I can read the information in front of me. And that's why I really appreciate this section. The list here are free publications that you can download and read, some of which you could subscribe to in the mail. And they have great stories to read of survival, hope, tips and tricks, and more. And so this is one example of one that you could subscribe to. I'm sure some of you already do. but you can get this in the mail, and then they have lots of links for supplemental stories and stuff you can get as well on their website. Like Carly said, I host Brainbusters, and Brainbusters is the gaming group that meets 3 times a month. And if people are interested, they can sign up here at this registration form. The calendar is available here and you can download it. And then if you are interested in joining, you can just click on one of these Zoom links and it will take you right there. The event calendar, this is where I have some of the events for Lit Up My Mind offerings for the month. And then I have other groups as well. The Pueblo Brain Chat. This is a weekly group that a friend does that works in Pueblo, Colorado, and she has just a wonderful group that I wish more people would go to. So if you have anybody interested, they can just click here to join the Zoom group, and this is just some information. So if you want, I can put any of your groups on here as well. And like Brainbusters is here, you can just click the link to sign in, and it makes it pretty easy. The Mending Minds women's support group. So there's mindfulness and so on. So just I'm trying to make it as easy as I can, because I know when, you know, I was having the most struggle during my brain injury, that finding and keeping track of details was difficult. So if everything's all in one spot, I think it makes things easier. Click here to get the most recent newsletter. You can download it or just access it here, and you can see past newsletters as well. And then the Mending Minds Women's Support Group can be accessed here, and there's more information. The Reading is Healing. This is a special page to me. This is the story of how reading really truly saved my life. And I'll be adding a lot more to this section, and especially when I get the brain injury program going, for the brain injury reading program up and going. And then finally, just the contact page. So that is it. So if you ever have any questions, you can contact me and I will help you find resources if you have any needs, or if you have questions about the ones I have up. But I am adding a lot more resources on there. It's going a little bit slower than I thought, because I started this in January. So it's just, it takes a while. I've never done a website before, so this is my first one, and you know.
You're doing great. It's good. It's very organized, and I think yeah. Did you have migraines prior to your brain injury?
No, and they said, I guess that their statistic is about 40% of people with brain injuries will end up getting migraine. So it's kind of a silent epidemic, but that's why I would love to talk more about it to people, because I think a lot of us struggle with it, but we're not talking about it. And I have intractable migraine, which means it just never goes away. So I deal with it daily, and I wear a device twice a day to kind of manage it and help ease the pain, but it doesn't go away. So, but everybody has something, so.
Yeah, well, you have a great attitude about that. Yeah. So I assume so you had your car accident and then the PCS diagnosis and then the stroke. So you've had kind of almost a few kinds of brain injury, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you had acquired and traumatic, but you said you had to relearn how to walk after the stroke and things. So what of the related services, I'm assuming you had PT, you had OT, you had speech, you had all of that. What do you think, what's the like one referral that you would highly recommend to a fellow survivor?
I think speech is the biggest one. Speech or maybe cognitive, but I never had the cognitive. But speaking to other survivors, I think cognitive would have been beneficial. The speech therapy, when I did get it, it was super beneficial, and I could tell when I didn't have that contact with the speech therapist that my abilities, I don't know what you would call it, but my functioning did decrease again. So even when I did my homework on my own, I could tell that my own neuro functioning was a little bit lower. So I wish that was a better benefit for people than 3 visits, or whatnot, but
Yeah. Any other questions for Laura? You can type in chat or you can just unmute. Hear the crickets?
I'll just say that's a very impressive website with so much information, and for you to assemble that yourself, not with a team of assistants, is very impressive. So despite any migraine or brain injury you have, you're doing a great job.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Definitely agree with that. I think our website's probably ran by like 4 professionals. So yeah, the fact that you're doing that all on your own is incredible and it's very well organized. And yeah, I'm gonna send you we have like a form you can fill in for me, and then I'll get yours onto our website too,
Okay,
onto our resource directory. So I'll send you, it's just kind of a fill in the blank for me so I can put the information you want before people even click on the link, so what they'll see. I'll send
Okay.
you that when we're done here today too, and then we'll get you up onto our site
That would be wonderful.
so that yeah. I think one thing too to take away from this too, I know she talked a lot about Colorado, and we're in North Dakota, but every single state has a brain injury something. So there's alliances, there's networks like us. I think we might be one of the only networks, but there's all different. They're all called something different, but we all have the same goal in mind, and that's helping survivors and helping, spread awareness on brain injury. So whether you're in North Dakota or not, I would just a simple Google search of, if you type in Montana brain injury, their place will come up, So Colorado, you guys have several, don't you?
I know we definitely have the Brain Injury Alliance of Colorado, but then the Pueblo Brain Injury has their own thing, and then we have little things around. So
Yeah. Whenever I present to college, we get called, we go to college courses a lot and present to like future OTs and PTs and those kinds of things. And I always say that to them, that no matter what state you end up in when you're done with college, there's a brain injury something in your state. So utilize them and reach out to them. What they offer might be a little different from state to state, but for the most part, I would say we have very similar goals and projects.
yeah, for sure.
So, All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Laura.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I don't know if you need anything for grant, but you had 14 at the highest number of participants, so. If you need, sometimes for grants, you have to report back on like live attendees and all that kind of stuff, so. Just in case you needed to know that, but like I said, a lot of people do watch later, so.
Okay, well, let
um,
me know and then I will give you that link.
Perfect. Sounds good, yep, and I will send you, yep, I will send that to you.
Okay,
Okay, thank you all so much. Have a great rest of the day and be watching for the recording of this, and feel free to share it with anybody that might benefit from it as well.
thank you.
Thanks.